Hello and welcome to episode 50 of the Crash and Ride podcast. I'm Patrick Ferguson. I'm your host. This week's guest is Jeff Rapier. Jeff is a bass player, singer, sometimes guitar player. He's been in a bunch of Athens punk bands. He was in American Cheeseburger. He was in The Dumps. He was in Donkey Punch. Donkey Punch just played a show. Their drummer, Jason Richardson, who is also known as Mohawk, that's how we refer to him in the interview, is moving to Seattle, so they just played a sort of farewell show for now until maybe they find another drummer. It's going to be hard to replace Jason. He's a really great drummer. But he is moving to Seattle, and that's just too far to commute for band practice. So for now, I think Donkey Punch is on sabbatical, and I don't think Jeff has a project. But he's someone I've known for many years, and I've known he's struggled with a lot of stuff, including the death of his brother, and we sat down and talked and had a really good talk. If this is your first episode of Crash and Ride is a long-form interview podcast where I talk to musicians who've survived anxiety, depression, and addiction. The idea was that if we could get together and have honest conversations about the things that made us sad, we could maybe start to get better as a group. There's been a lot of discussion lately about suicide and depression in the music industry, and I think it's long overdue. There's a lot of pressure put on like some of the most vulnerable people in society, like creative people who don't have health insurance, don't have the means to go and get mental health care. And, you know, it's a tightrope just trying to make a living these days. And I'm just really glad we're finally talking about this stuff. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for me. I've been traveling so much. I traveled for the holidays. I just recently traveled down to Florida last week to see some family in a sort of post-holiday travel thing. I haven't been able to do as many interviews as I'd like. I've fallen behind for the first time since I started this podcast almost a year ago. I'm a little frustrated about all that, but thanks for bearing with me. Hopefully tonight is me getting back on schedule. I got some fun interviews scheduled, things I think people are going to find interesting. And I think 2020 is going to be a really good year for Crash and Ride. I got a couple of quick announcements. Crash and Ride is brought to you in part by Greer Amplification. Greer Amps builds the best boutique effects pedals available. If you're looking for an overdrive, boost, fuzz, compressor, or tremolo that is rugged, road-tested, and at home, on stage, in the studio, or in your living room, Greer has a pedal for you. Nick and his staff strive to build the best products around with the best tone you've ever heard. They believe in their products, and they stand behind them too, backing each one up with a lifetime warranty to the original owner. Each Greer Amps product is hand-built in Athens, Georgia, USA. Go to www.greeramps.com or visit your favorite music retailer today. You know, if you follow Greer Amplification on social media, that Nick and company just got back from Anaheim for the NAMM show, which is a thing. If you're not super deep into inside baseball music stuff, the NAMM show is where all the people who make stuff go and sell it to the people who sell stuff. So Nick was out there and like all the big drum companies and all the guitar companies. But there's a guy named B.A. Ferguson who is a guitar maker. This is not a paid announcement, by the way. I just love his guitar so much. He's got the same last name as me, and somebody sent me a picture of him in a shirt that said, wouldn't you like to be a Ferguson too, which I thought was hilarious, but I already knew about his guitars because they're just super nice. And anyway, he was out there. There were some pictures of him and Nick hanging out, and I was like, I want one of those guys' guitars so much. I've been playing a lot of guitar this year, and while I don't believe other people should make New Year's resolutions, I made one, which was that I was going to play guitar for at least 15 minutes to an hour every day in 2020. And the other day, when my wife was at work and my kid was at school and I had a minute, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna plug this amplifier in and just really play loud. And I went and I got my Greer Sucker Punch. So Nick's biggest selling pedal is probably either the Southland or the Lightspeed, which those are both fairly transparent overdrive pedals that are really popular with Americana guys. But the Sucker Punch is like a super high gain, like punk rock pedal that makes your guitar make alligator noises. Like, it's really fucking cool. And I have this weird amp head that I didn't want to get into the esoterica of that, but it's like a super twin. It's a very high wattage amp that breaks up at high volumes. And so I have my 4x12 in my head and my Sucker Punch and my dual humbucker guitar, and was just, I'm sure my neighbors were like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on over there? I'm sure my neighbors were like, do you hear something? Is there like an air raid siren? Like, I live out in the country too, but I was being somewhat irresponsible. It was fucking great. Crash and Ride is also brought to you in part by Jittery Joe's, a local coffee roaster based in Athens, Georgia. They have a special espresso blend named after the podcast. You can get Crash and Ride espresso, whole bean or ground, from the website crashandridepodcast.com/store. Just tell me how you want it, and I'll send you a can. I also have T-shirts up there, blue or black T-shirts with the Crash and Ride logo and the Loud Guitars Save Lives motto on them. They're $20 plus $5 shipping. If you're a regular listener and you're wondering why I'm not announcing more shows that I'm playing right now, it's because I'm not playing many shows. Pinky Doodle Poodle, the Tokyo rock band that I play with when they're on this side of the Pacific Ocean, is still stuck in this visa application process. It's been very frustrating and very trying, and I'm just sitting on the couch losing money, not playing. It's not great. And I haven't been able to do many interviews for the podcast, so that's why I've been standing in my living room playing rock and roll guitar at 110 dB on a Wednesday morning, because man, it's just not a lot going on. But hopefully, that's all going to get back to normal soon. All right, Jeff Rapier. He's a really lovely guy. He's a guy that, I toured with. Our bands went on tour a couple times together, and we crashed on some hotel room floors together, and he's someone I would see in the street all the time. I remember the day that I heard the terrible news that his younger brother had died, and I would see him in the street for months or maybe even like a couple of years after that, and he was clearly not doing great. And, he's a guy I care about a lot. And so I knew he had listened to some of the shows because we have some mutual friends that I interviewed, and he had said, "Oh, man, I really enjoyed the interview with Riley Kilpatrick or Erica Rickson from Motherfucker." And I guess a few weeks ago I said, "Hey, man, let's get together and do a show." So earlier today, we met up at a house that he was house sitting, and I set up there in the really sunny kitchen of this house, and there was a cat named Vincent Price and this beautiful pit bull mix that he was watching named Daisy, and we had a good talk. It's interesting, Daisy dips in and out of the interview, and every time Jeff would get stressed or emotional, Daisy would come check on him. I don't even think he noticed, and I didn't really notice at the time, but as I was editing this tonight to get it ready to go to broadcast, there's a point where he's really in a heavy place and talking about something that happened to him, and you can hear Daisy just crying in the background. Like, she was so in tune with his emotional state. It was kind of remarkable. It's another illustration of that amazing bonds that people and dogs have, and you listen for it. You'll notice. So, yeah, when I first started this podcast, a couple of people reached out to me and said, I'm not really all that interested in a podcast about mental health of people who've got it all sorted out. Like, I'm not there yet, and I just don't want to listen to people talking about how bad it was while I'm still down in it. And what's interesting about this conversation with Jeff is that, like, a lot of this stuff is still really fresh for him. And I would not say, yes, Jeff has it all worked out. Like, he's still struggling. And I think that this is a snapshot of a place in time where he's on an upward arc, but a lot of the emotional pain of the loss of his brother and a lot of the unresolved stuff of the chaotic childhood he had is still it's still very present, and it's very real. And this is a very immediate and honest interview, and it doesn't have a lot of easy answers to difficult questions. And I think that it's remarkable in that respect. So I hope that you enjoy it. Let's jump into this interview with Jeff Rapier. All right, I'm here with Jeff Rapier. Jeff is just recently played his last show ever with Donkey Punch. That's a band that's been around Athens for, 15 years or so, right?
22.
22 years.
22 years.
Band finally old enough to drink. And formerly of The Dumps, which is how I met you when you were playing with The Dumps.
Absolutely. You were playing with Music Hates You at the time.
I was. And then you've got a recurring band that comes back like Athlete's Foot called The Mids. But you're not from Athens. Where'd you grow up?
No, I grew up in Cincinnati. A little bit outside of Cincinnati. We used to sneak out and go see shows when we were like 14, 15, 16, drive the 15 miles into downtown Cincinnati and go see shows at Bogart's and Sudsy Malone's.
I played Sudsy's.
Sudsy's was great. I saw it's the first place I saw Mike Watt.
We opened for Mike Watt at Sudsy's.
No way.
Yeah, 5'8". Played with Mike Watt at Sudsy's.
Holy shit.
I wonder if that was that show.
Joe Biza was playing with him and Nels Klein.
Holy shit.
Dude. Oh my God. It had to be like 95 or yep. Dude.
Holy shit.
That's wild.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, so
Wow.
5'8" opened for Mike Watt at that show. That's amazing.
That is fantastic. That's not the first time that's happened where I just like mention a show and turns out someone else was there or played that show. Like
That's crazy. That was like Ball Hog or Tugboat.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, that tour. We did 2 tours with Mike Watt and 1 tour with Firehose.
I loved Firehose.
Yeah, they were great.
Fucking Ed from Ohio.
Ed had a girlfriend in Gainesville for a while.
Oh man,
Like he was kind of living there when they were always on the road. So living somewhere when you're in Firehose is.
I saw Ed play a show at Tasty World, like a solo show, and like there was probably 10 people there. It was like me and BP Brian Poole, and just Andrew Rieger, a handful of other people. And Murphy just running around with a grin because he's so stoked. It was like,
I wonder where Ed is now. Do you know?
I have no idea. Probably in Ohio.
I think that he was with that girl from
Ed Crawford.
Ed Crawford. We was with her in Gainesville for a while, and I know that like Mike Watt started doing solo stuff and not Firehose stuff, and we played with Firehose and Pedro.
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had for them on their home
taking
turf.
it to the hometown.
Yeah, it was really good.
Dude.
We're here at Jeff's house sitting, and so we're here at a friend of his house. And
This is Paul Waslow's house.
Paul's massive pit bull mix, like staring up at me from under the table, like, "Are you gonna rub these ears, man?"
Hey,
Daisy,
pay attention. Hey, Daisy.
Did you live on the Ohio side of the line?
Yeah. I was definitely in Ohio, man.
Do you remember that music store that was just across the line? Was it called Maginot's or something, or was that? I think Maginot's might have been just as you're getting into DC from Virginia.
Yeah, I think
I can't remember that there was. I can't. Anyway, we toured so much that I was always stopping somewhere to get drum parts.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And that place was cool. It was just across the bridge from Cincy.
But like in Lexington or Covington?
I mean, it was almost under the bridge.
Yeah, it was like Covington area.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of that music store, but I remember they had a Rogers snare drum that I wanted to buy and didn't have the money at the time. And it was Blue Sparkle. I think about it all the time.
Blue Sparkle.
Yeah, it looked good, man.
Man, that would look good on the Vista-like kit.
Yeah, you had siblings too, right?
Yeah. I had I had 2 brothers. I was the middle son. We were the Irish triplets. We were all about a year apart.
Yeah.
My older brother, and then my younger brother, who passed away 7 years ago.
It's already been 7 years.
It's been 7 years. Like a week ago was the anniversary.
How old was he when he passed?
He was 32, I think. Yeah, 32.
Was he in Houston?
Yeah, he lived in Dallas.
Dallas, that's right.
Yeah, because there was like one tour that because he was an Army guy, and so he was in and out and back and forth and whatnot. But there was one tour where we went on and we stayed with him, and it was fantastic. Like my friends / bandmates, they got a little insight into me and my brother. Yeah. They're like, holy shit. Oh, we see. We get it. All right.
Oh, it's wild going on tour and you like meet people's families and you're like, oh.
Uh-huh.
This explains so much.
Oh, yeah. Like there was one tour where it was an American Cheeseburger tour, and I was singing with that band at the time, and we were up in Columbus, Ohio, and we stopped at my brother's house, my older brother, and it was just a shit show, fucking nightmare.
What happened?
Oh my God, I'm trying not to be this. I just try not to talk shit on him, but I fucking hate him.
Your brother?
Yeah, I fucking hate him. But
tell me I want to get to that too,
Yes.
but what happened to your younger brother?
He had PTSD really, really bad, like to the point that he was suicidal.
Is he a combat vet?
He was in Baghdad, and it was Operation Iraqi Freedom, and he hit a roadside bomb, and his tank flipped, and he broke his fucking back, and it took him a long time to recover, but I mean, he was able to walk again, which was awesome, but he had fucking nightmares. I mean, it was just, it was unbearable for him. So, he dealt with it the best he could, and he was seeing therapists, and the VA was trying to help, I guess, but they didn't really do much for him, But he was trying to keep it together, but everything just kept.
Was he self-medicating with drugs?
Oh yeah.
And he OD'd or something?
Yeah. Well, he was self-medicating with weed and alcohol, and then my piece of shit older brother, fucking asshole, turned him on to fucking heroin, and he fucking OD'd.
Is that your older brother's deal? He's got an opiate addiction?
No, he just has an asshole addiction.
So he's still in Ohio?
I have no idea, because he bounces around, because he just uses people, like if he's not using my mom who lives in Colorado, then he's trying to use my dad who lives in Ohio, and just bounces back and forth, and it's just a complete shit show.
So your folks are split up now?
Yeah, they split when I was in middle school. I was probably like 13 or 14 at the time. Yeah.
What did they do, your parents?
My dad, he was in the Army. He was a military police officer, and he then became like a sheriff's deputy, and then started selling cars. And he managed car lots for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the one thing that he was like he could do.
So that's what he was doing when you were a kid?
Yeah. So he was,
Was he combat vet, your dad?
No.
Yeah.
He was, he did his 4 years and split.
Yeah.
And he didn't see any combat.
Yeah. You still in touch with him?
Yeah. Me and him have a great relationship. Finally,
Right.
Yeah, it took 40 years, but
Yeah. No, I'm familiar. And your mom, she work?
She's been through a lot. She has she's been in like a couple of bad car wrecks that gave her some severe brain trauma, so she can't really work.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
How does it manifest itself?
I mean, and she's dealing with like MS and everything else right now, and she has seizures and just like it's always something. So I have a hard time keeping up with what she's doing, but I mean, like I love her to pieces, and she's the sweetest woman in the world, but she just I have a hard time dealing with it. I have a hard time even seeing her, like talking to her face to face, because there's this like disconnect that I just can't. I mean, we adore each other. Like I'm who I am because of her, not because of my dad or, like she's very artistic, and she's very, very like in tune with life energy, and she's, I guess you could say, new agey. Yeah. But she's fantastic and genuine. And
but you have a hard time sort of relating, huh?
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's not because of anything. It's just like we're just different.
Yeah.
But
she's in Colorado.
Yep. She grows her own herbs, and she has a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
That's her jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess like last year about this time, she called me up, and I guess like she had some shitty next door neighbors, and they decided that they were going to take her all of her plants, and she grew weed for herself, you know.
Sure, personal consumption. Yeah.
And she would make, you know, like all these tinctures and stuff for her new agey friends and whatnot, and just give it away. She would never sell it, you know, like she'd just give it to people that needed it. And if these people would have asked, she would have given her entire crop to them, but instead they just decided to just go in and rip it all out. But what made it all hilarious was like she's like, they didn't even take the tomatoes, they just stomped them. You know, it's like that was what really hurt her.
That sucks.
She's like they were so delicious.
Oh man.
So that's the kind of person she is.
Yeah, it's a bummer because like you can always like buy weed.
Exactly, especially like in a state like that.
Yeah, you know? So, but homegrown tomatoes are, man, that's hard.
Man, that's just mean.
It's hard to come by.
Yeah,
you know? Like good tomatoes are.
Oh
like
man,
a fucking mission every summer.
I want a tomato sandwich right now, but it's wrong month,
wrong time of year, man. You're not gonna. So you're growing up outside of Cincinnati. Yeah. And how would you describe just sort of childhood? You and I have talked in the past about struggling with depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
When did that start? Was that?
Oh man, that started probably around 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like, growing up in a very strict Southern Baptist family.
Who was the Southern Baptist?
My grandfather was a preacher.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so it was like every Sunday, like just getting dragged out of bed and put in the church clothes, and you know, with no choice.
Yeah,
you know, it's like he's on his way to pick you up. You better be ready, you know, like type of thing.
Did your mom not go?
No. I mean, she did, but, you know, she went until I was old enough to be like, this is ridiculous, you know, and I don't want to go anymore.
Right.
And she's like, fucking A, it's about time, you know, so, you know, then me and her started staying out of it. She's like, would let me make my own decision if I wanted to go or not.
Right.
And that.
Were you close to your grandpa, though?
Oh, I loved him dearly.
I was super close to my grandparents, but we were also...
Oh, my God. Like, we were two completely different people.
Yeah.
But I adored him. Like, I would follow him around like a fucking puppy dog, you know?
Yeah.
And he was a... I mean, fantastic guy. But it's like, just couldn't relate. Like, it was either you were with God or you weren't.
Yeah.
But, like...
Where was he from?
He was from... Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like just like he grew up, and he was a coal miner as a child, and the son of a coal miner, and the grandson of a coal miner.
Yeah.
You know, and he was the first one to escape that life. He went in the army. He was in Korea, World War II. Took a grenade to the back, you know, like it's like, and
do you have shrapnel still?
Oh my God, like like one day I stayed with them when my parents split. Stayed with my grandmother and grandfather because it was just easier.
You were 13, 14 then?
Yeah. And
that's an interesting time to be with your grandparents.
Oh my God, because
you're going through a lot of changes.
Yeah. Like everything in my life changed, not just my body, but like my ideas and my vision, like, you know, just everything.
Right.
And I walked in one day, like I was like, "Hey, Grandpa," and he was like changing shirts, and he had his back to me, and it was just like, I mean, it was like someone took just a steak and just stabbed the shit out of it with a bunch of knives.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was just chewed up meat, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, what's that? And he's like, well, and he sat me down. That was the first time we ever talked about war, and it made me realize that he wasn't just my grandfather. He was a real human being.
Yeah, yeah.
A man.
Yeah.
But, it was, and I think that was like when I first started realizing that it's like, fuck, man, he's a tough bastard, And,
yeah.
And he could easily be full of hate, and he wasn't,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people his age were, like, goddamn Japs and
Was he in the Pacific then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was in Germany and the Pacific, so it was just like, yeah.
My grandpa was a vet too. He came through Normandy. He wasn't in the initial assault.
Right.
He definitely crossed that beach and then worked his way inland all the way to Berlin in World War II. Never talked about it. Never said a word about it.
That was pretty much the only time me and him ever talked about it.
Yeah.
It was just that one time.
My uncle had a grenade go off behind him, and for the rest of his life, he's still alive, but every now and then a little piece of shrapnel will work its way to the surface.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, they can't take it all out. It's tiny bits of steel,
yeah.
So it just every now and then you get a little surprise.
It just works its way to the surface.
Yeah. So your depression, anxiety sort of started around 9 years old?
Yeah. My household was chaotic, and it weighed on me. The fist fights that my parents would get in, and just seeing my dad like just fucking hauling off and punching my mom straight in the face, like that would, it got to me.
Was he drinking?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you think it was part of him sort of coping with the stresses of being a sheriff?
No, I think this was the stresses of him coping with being a young father with 3 kids and a wife that he barely knew. Like
they got married really young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were completely different people. Like, they had no business being married.
Yeah.
But that when your dad is a preacher and you knock up someone, like,
yeah, you got to follow through.
Yeah. Like, because there's a shotgun waiting for you. Like it's.
And where were they living? Were they in Ohio at that time?
Yeah. They had met in D.C. because my dad was an MP, and my mom, she had moved up there. She grew up in Florida. She moved to Florida when she was I think 7. Like, she was born and raised in Santiago, Chile. And
whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
Your mom's Chileno?
Yeah.
Chileno? Sorry.
Chilean.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Chilean. And they moved to Miami. And then when she was about 15 or 16, she ran away because she was just, her family life was a shit show as well. I mean, it's just like,
these things tend to
repeat.
Yeah. They tend to
cycles.
Yeah, it's cycles.
Yeah.
But so your mom was probably Catholic then.
Yeah. Very much so.
And she married a preacher's kid from a Southern Baptist family.
Yeah. So, needless to say, our
I mean, both of those come with their own guilt payload.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah.
Just different flavors of the same.
Yeah. And like, there was never like family get-togethers with my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family.
They didn't mix
ever.
Yeah.
Like, it was like my grandfather.
It sounds like there was just a lot of antipathy and chaos in your early life.
Like, and it, I remember like my mom having to. I was probably like maybe 8. And my mom like bundling me up at like 3 a.m, like putting on my winter jacket, my snow boots, and putting me and my brothers in the car and going out to the police station to pick up my dad because he had wrapped another car around a fucking telephone pole.
Yeah.
And
this was a regular occurrence.
Yeah, it happens.
Semi-regular. Yeah.
I mean, that was the first one that I vividly remember, but I definitely remember like one before, and the next one, I was obviously old enough to be like, fuck him, he can stay, you know. And
in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, I think we've established a good baseline for how a young man gets into punk rock.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking music was like the only thing that helped me hide like my fucking rage without, you know, I would go in my room and listen to Elvis Costello and Wire and Talking Heads, and then, you know, I had a couple buddies, you know, one of my oldest friends, he actually lives in Athens as well. We both moved down here. He moved here first, and I moved here shortly after.
Yeah. When was that?
I moved here in 98. Yeah, it was 98. It was like January of 98.
Did you guys come down as part of a band, or did you just...
No, he...
we're moving to Athens, fuck it.
Like, well, we had always talked about moving somewhere.
Right.
And it was just like... And then it was just like... We never pinned anything down. You know, like, I went out to San Francisco and checked it out. I went to...
Man, San Francisco in the 90s felt like...
Oh, man, that was the spot. Like,
it felt like anything was possible.
Absolutely. Like, that was my first spot. Like, I was like, I'm doing this. And
was Gilman Street still open in 98?
Yeah.
So Gilman Street was going. There was a whole, like, Bay Area punk scene.
Oh, man. Like, I didn't know anyone out there, you know? Like, and I just got on a plane and went. And I got out there and just...
Were you working jobs to buy airplane tickets? Like, how did you...
Yeah, I worked at this place called SDS Pizza. It was student delivery service.
Not Students for a Democratic Society.
Well, it was that, because I just moved to Oxford, Ohio, and that's where the SDS like began.
Right.
Was Miami University.
Right, out of frustration with the ineffectiveness of the anti-war movement being peaceful. Right.
Exactly. So it was like, fuck it.
So they started an SDS Pizza.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And they would like stay open till like 4 a.m. And I was 17. You know, I would not go to school and go and work. You know, I was like, fuck it.
So you're putting money in your pocket to go explore the country.
Exactly.
Cool. So you went to San Francisco.
And I loved it. I was out there for a week, stayed at this youth hostel on Mason Street. And
I know that hostel.
Yeah, Mason and O'Farrell.
It's still open.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it is. I still have like I took a picture of it.
It's a different world now, though. San Francisco is like...
I wouldn't want to live there now.
Oh, God, no. And I have friends who've been there forever. And back in, the 90s and early 2000s, they'd be like, it's getting really expensive here. I'm like, you should think about Athens, Georgia, because it's a cool place and it's cheap, because Athens was cheap then.
Oh, my God. I moved here with $300 in my pocket.
Yeah.
Like a bag full of books and my bass guitar.
Yeah.
You know,
the Rickenbacker, right?
No, actually, at that point, I still had like my 76 P bass that I had to sell for rent. It was an American P bass. Like, that was my first taste of what it's like to be a musician.
The life, yeah.
Like selling my most prized bass to...
Yeah. And I would tell my friends, you should move to Athens because it's cool and it's laid back and it's cheap. And they'd be like, I'm too weird to live anywhere but San Francisco, because San Francisco is a special place. And at the time...
It's like, dude...
That was all true.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 5'8" went out there to make a record in 1991, I think, or 92. And we spent 5 weeks out there, and it was like, this place is so wild.
It was special.
And it's just overrun by goons with MBAs.
Oh, yeah.
So...
And... I consider Athens to be the most special place to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I've been on tour and you're heading back to Athens, you hit 316, you're 45 minutes from home. That's like one of the most warm feelings. Like, oh, I'm almost there. You know?
Yeah,
it's like home. I've never felt that way. I mean, I feel that way like when I cross the bridge on 75 over the Ohio River and going into Cincinnati, but that's a different kind of feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this feels like home to me because I did it on my own terms and I never had like any, like, I used to dread going home at night like when I lived in Ohio, because I knew, it's like, well, I have 2 hours till my dad gets home. and I know he's gonna fucking drag me out of bed, you know, because something's not right, because I didn't put the fucking the laundry in the dryer, you know, and because
it's always something. Like
it's always something.
Yeah.
It could be like the most mild thing, you know. There's
dot every I and cross every T.
Yeah, but he's gonna find some reason.
And there'll be a spinach leaf stuck in a sink trap.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was like, you know, literally grab me by my fucking chest, like my shirt, and pull me out of bed, and it caused so much anxiety, like that I still have trouble falling asleep because I have like this sense that something's fucked, that like someone's going to come pull me up and grab me, so what's the point of falling asleep, you know? Like it's like ingrained in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had insomnia since I was a kid because I just dealing with all that shit. But
have you ever done any like adult child of alcoholic stuff, like Al-Anon or anything?
No. I've thought about it, but I mean, like, the only thing like that I've done like survivors group, you know, like, cause like there's that whole survivor's guilt, you know, like
because you happened to your brother.
Yeah. And that helped to an extent, but I just can't get with that kind of program. Like I don't mind talking about it and hearing someone else's view about it, but it's just, there's just something that, like, when with the 12 steps, when you bring God into it and shit like that, like, I just can't get with it. Like, it just rubs me the wrong way.
That's not an uncommon objection.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I know it works for a lot of people, and whatever helps. But I mean, talking with friends helps me more than it does like talking with therapists. You know, like therapists. Yeah. I've seen every different kind of therapist over the years, and it's,
So you've done some therapy?
Oh yeah, tons, forever. I mean, I was in therapy when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know, like I was in.
Probably your mom's idea.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I've tried like new age therapy, and I've tried, you know, talking with doctors. I've tried talking with religious leaders, and you know, it's just like I've tried everything, but it's like nothing really helps, except you just have to kind of just step into your own shit. You just kind of have to deal with it and accept it, that it's there.
That's the hardest part about addressing childhood trauma, though, is that you have to relive it.
Exactly. It's fucking haunting.
And you got to pick a fucking day where you're like, well, I think today's the day I'm going to dig into this shit. And you got to be in a special place.
Yeah. And most people are not ready for it.
Well, the problem is for me, is like the times when I really want to deal with that is when I'm already in crisis. And it's
exactly.
That's no time to try to rewire the house. It's already on fire.
Exactly.
You know? And then if like things are okay and I'm feeling okay, it's like the last thing I want to do is dig into the insanity of my early life, you know?
It's like I'm diagnosed manic depressive, and I've known that forever.
When did you get that diagnosis?
I guess it was about 8 years ago.
Yeah. Were you sort of through Nucci Space or something?
Yeah. I went to Nucci's to talk, because I was like, even like before my brother died, I was having, I mean, I've been dealing with depression forever, but it like got to a point where I was done. I just ready to end it all. Yeah. And it was like,
tell me about that moment.
Fuck.
This was before your brother died.
Yeah.
You just hit some kind of.
And I don't know what triggered it. Like, there's no major event that triggered it, but it was just like life got to be. It reached like the point where it was just like, why? What's the point? Fuck this. I'm done. Like, everything just, it felt like this, I was pushing the boulder up the hill, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just, I couldn't do it anymore. And I was and I was talking with a friend, and she's like, hey, let's go talk to someone.
Yeah.
And that it's helped.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah, Nucci's is amazing.
Yeah.
So you went to Nucci's and you got a referral and you started therapy.
Yeah.
And you got a diagnosis.
Yeah. And I definitely went through a couple therapists because I was like the first couple I didn't like.
It's like your first band, right?
Yeah.
You got to learn to be in the room, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Partly you, partly them.
Exactly.
You know? And every therapy has a point of view, right? You talked about New Age therapy or Christian therapy.
Yeah.
Every therapist has a diagnostic framework that they're going to work from. And you got to be prepared to either live in that sort of worldview or be like, I'm not really down with the Christian thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but you found someone.
Yeah, and it worked for a while, and then I was getting over medicated, like way over medicated, and that happened after my brother's death.
What were you taking? You remember?
Oh my God, fuck. I mean, I was on like 8 different meds. Like I was on fucking Fedzima, Seroquel, Xanax, Ativan, Klonopin, shit, and then Adderall to counteract that, and then I was on lithium for a while, which was fucking gnarly. Yeah, just like.
You ever smoke weed on Klonopin?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Dude, you want to... It made me narcoleptic.
Right.
Like, that's the best way to put it. Like I'd be mid-conversation, just like...
Yeah.
Tap out.
I don't know why they don't warn more people when they go, we're going to prescribe you this drug. Don't mix this with weed.
And never mix it with alcohol. Because, I mean, I was still self-medicating with alcohol as well.
Sure.
And then, it's just like... I felt like a fucking zombie, and a zombie that knew he was a zombie. But I couldn't fucking shake it. And then I just slowly like weaned myself off of all of those. And, I mean, shit, like coming off of Klonopin and Xanax is way harder than anything else I've done in my life.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, I couldn't function. Like I had no appetite. I would wake up nauseous. If I could sleep, and it was just, and that affected every relationship.
Sure.
And,
it's your brain chemistry, right?
Yeah. And like, it was almost impossible to get to work. And when I could get to work, I couldn't be there. Like I wasn't in the moment. I couldn't focus.
Yeah.
So like, and then I didn't play music for fucking 5 years.
Yeah. When I met you, you were pretty active.
Yeah.
You just Donkey Punch kind of peaked and then you kind of tapered off with that, got in the dumps.
Yeah.
And then there was a period where
I just didn't do anything. Like, like after American Cheeseburger, because that was after the dumps, American Cheeseburger, that was so much fun. That was like one of the most fun bands I've ever been in. And after that, I just gave up. And like that was the second, like that was like the second time I felt absolutely desperate. Like,
yeah.
And
so let's contextualize that in terms.
Okay.
So there was a period where you sought treatment for depression prior to your brother's death. Because you hit a bottom where you were like, there's no point in continuing to go forward.
And then this was like maybe two years later. Because I mean, like it was about 2 years. And then my brother. So like it was American Cheeseburger, and then boom. Yeah, at that point I was on the meds.
Right.
So, and then when Cheeseburger ended, I just didn't really want to do any music for a minute. And then my brother passed away, and then it turned into complete shit show, desperation, absolute desperation.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I was in a relationship at the time, and I mean, I can't imagine how she put up with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still it still hurts, but I feel like such a piece of shit because I wasn't the person that I could have been, and it just...
That's a lot to ask of somebody who's just lost their youngest brother.
Yeah, but it's... I mean, that goes along with like that, the whole survivor guilt thing. It's like you regret things that you didn't do, you regret things that you didn't say, and it's just...
Was there a time when you felt like you needed to push him to address his addiction issues and you didn't?
No, because I wasn't there and I didn't know
how bad it was.
Yeah, like I just found out like last week some more news about him. Like a friend of his contacted me and she filled me in on a lot of the details I didn't know, and it just fucking relit this fire of like, holy shit. Like if I was there, I would have known. But I know that he didn't tell me these things because he was trying to protect me, and he knew that I would run to try and save him.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be saved.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's just like one more thing, but it's another thing I can't dwell on right now. It's just there's nothing that I can do to fix that. So I just can't.
You feel like your brothers, that you sort of shared experience of living with this violent alcoholic, predisposed him to not really having the framework to recover from the trauma he experienced in Iraq?
I mean,
you think he blamed himself for a lot of that stuff?
Absolutely, because he straight up told me he did.
I think that when you live with a crazy person who's an alcoholic or an addict or whatever, you take a lot, especially as a kid, you take a lot of responsibility for their shitty behavior as a reflex.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have any control over them, so you, like we were talking about, you try to get the house as clean as it can be and get everything right in hopes that maybe one night they'll not blow up at you. And so you end up with this like codependent reflex of caretaking, all this other stuff. Now your brother goes off to Iraq, something terrible happens to him, and he comes home with this set of emotional traumas that he can't heal or fix because he's taking it all on himself.
Yeah. When someone wants to take their life, they're going to take their life. But it's just...
Did he OD or did he kill himself?
I don't know if he was that deep into it. Like, I don't know if that was his first time doing it. I don't know if it was like his 100th time doing it.
Yeah.
Like, he had just gotten back to Ohio, okay? And he had just like hooked up with my older brother. And my older brother and his best friend, they let him crash on their couch. And they came home with a fucking big bag of fucking dead, and gave him a fucking syringe. And of course, when you're suicidal and you're aching for any escape, even for 5 minutes or whatever, like anything that's going to take your mind off of it. And they gave him a fucking pre-fucking made syringe. Here, put this in your arm. Oh, you didn't wake up? Oh shit, my bad. And I'm still angry.
I think justifiably so.
Yeah.
But at some point, like
I hate being angry.
Yeah, at some point you have to let it go.
Yeah. But I'm not ready.
No. Understandably.
I wish I was, because I hate walking around like this, it's not healthy and it's not good for the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not ready to forgive anyone. And then like going to his funeral and the two of these fucking assholes walking up to me and hugging me, I just wanted to fucking stab them both.
Did you know, you told me that just last week you found out more of the details about his death,
yeah,
but did you know those details about them having dope and...
I knew that when I found that out after the funeral, and I went driving looking for my older brother because I was going to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find him. No one would tell me where he was. Like, I was so pissed at him, and so I did the best thing, and I left and came back to Georgia, you know, and I'm glad I did, because I'd rather live my life than fucking take someone else's. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I seriously would have. I would have killed him.
I mean,
I don't. That's not the person I am, but I was that angry.
Crash and Rob would like to let you know about a new industry-wide initiative focused on mental health care called Backline. Backline is a hub for artists, industry professionals, and their families to quickly and easily access mental health and wellness resources. Backline has partnered with leading support organizations and care providers to streamline access to services specifically geared towards the music industry. Go to www.backline.care to get the support you need to thrive both on and off the road. The way Backline works is you contact them via their website or their 800 number, and they assign to you a caseworker. That caseworker will be familiar with resources in your area that'll help you get the help that you need. If you need to go see a counselor and talk some stuff out, Backline has a list of counselors. If you need to go see a psychiatrist and be evaluated for meds, they can help you with that too. If you need a sober companion to travel with you on tour and sort of help you stay out of trouble, they have access to sober companions too. Backline is a end-to-end mental health resource, and they're a great thing. Now, on a more local level, if you're someone living in the Athens area and you're struggling, you should go to Nucci Space. Go to nuci.org or call 706-227-1515. Nucci Space is a nonprofit resource for people living in the Athens area to help with suicide prevention, depression treatment, and help with anxiety. Nucci Space's primary focus is helping musicians. So musicians can get referrals for mental health care there, and it's subsidized. So your total outlay as a musician will be like $15 to $20 a session, but anybody can walk through the door and get help. Now, as musicians, Jeff and I are both able to go there and get help that was subsidized. But if you're just a regular person, you can get help there too. They will find resources to help you get what you need. Go to nuci.org or call 706-227-1515. That's nucci.org or 706-227-1515. Now, no matter where you are, if you're struggling with anxiety and depression and you're contemplating self-harm, you can always call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 24/7, it's confidential, it's free. They have trained volunteers to help you through your crisis. 1-800-273-8255. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. 1-800-273-TALK. Or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. All right, with that, let's jump back into our interview with Jeff Rapier. So after your brother died, you came back to Athens, and how? I'm a little confused about the timeline. At the point that you were taking like 6 different meds, but this was after your brother's death.
Yeah. At this point, I wasn't on all the meds yet. Like I'd already been on antidepressants, and but I just kind of fell off. Like I didn't know how to talk to people anymore. Like I got lost, and so that's when I started like seeing the therapist like twice a week, and then he started prescribing me more and more because I was just getting more and more fucking down and lower and lower and lower to a point where I was just empty. I had nothing to offer anyone, and so I didn't want to work. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to play music. I didn't want to do anything. And like getting out of bed was a fucking challenge, you know, like,
Yeah.
and so like he like doubled up my meds, and it made it worse. You know, because I was still self-medicating with alcohol.
Yeah.
So like alcohol plus all these meds, like
It's not a great combination.
it was deadly.
Yeah.
You know, like there was times where I would not remember like a couple of days in a row. You know.
Yeah.
But I had some really really good friends that were like, you need to fix your life, and I kind of just stepped outside of myself and looked, and it was like an out of body experience, and I just like saw like how fucked up I was, and I just couldn't believe it. And you know, like I was still in a lot of pain, but I was like, all right, I'm done. And I quit taking the meds. I stuck with the therapy, but I quit taking the meds.
Did you taper or did you just cold turkey it?
I cold turkeyed most of it, but like with like the Xanax and the Klonopin, like I had to taper it because, I mean, I couldn't eat, you know, and I was just walking around just shaky. So I was like, all right, I can't quit this right now. I just have to taper this down. But like the Wellbutrin and the Fedzima, like everything like that, like, and the Seroquel, it was just like, nope, I'm just going to quit.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
And that helped a lot. I felt like a bit of the cloud had been lifted.
Yeah.
And started eating more, started actually getting some exercise again. The will to create and to live life started creeping back in, you know, and started playing music again. And then, you know, a couple of years ago, James from Donkey Punch he hit me and Mohawk up. He's like, hey man, I'm in town, let's hang out. So we met up, and at this point, like, me and Mohawk had already been talking. Like, man, I would think about like if we could do Donkey Punch again, like knowing what we know now and being able to play the way we play now and be able to write songs the way we do now. Yeah, it's like, God, that would be the most fun band. And then James just called us up, and we're like, so we met up, and next thing you know, we had band practice, and all of a sudden, like, I fucking felt alive again. Yeah. You know, like I felt like the old me, like the one that could enjoy life more than just enjoy 2 hours out of the day. You know, like, because that, if I got 2 hours of enjoyment out of an entire day, I was pretty fucking stoked. I was like, wow, I'm almost living again. You know, I'm almost alive. Yeah. And I'm crawling out of my shell, and, you know, and there's been setbacks, you know, like, but I feel fucking fantastic, and I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy to create. Like, I just want to keep creating, and
you do a lot of sketching.
Yeah, man.
Have you ever done a show or anything?
No, not yet. I've I think May, either March or May, but yeah, this is the year. So
yeah, I've seen your work on social media and stuff. I think on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
When did you first start playing music though?
I guess it was about maybe like in 5th grade I started playing. Yeah. That's when I learned how to play the flute, and then I picked up a guitar about that same time. Yeah. And then the bass, and then, you know, I guess it was like around maybe 8th grade is when I first really started like writing and like really becoming like the type of person I am now. You know, like I would sit down and listen to an album and figure it out. You know, like had a couple really good friends that were way more talented than me, and they would show me like, oh, well, you have like the progression right, but you're in the wrong key, and they would like teach me to like, you know, really listen. And it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, and my ear got better and better, and I was just, and then the feel, you know, came, and I would just sit there and practice like, you know, like eighth notes just nonstop on bass, just
Play with a pick or your fingers?
I was playing with my fingers at the time. I started out playing with my fingers.
Yeah.
And then I switched to a pick years later. I guess it was probably when I was doing the dumps, because that was when I was playing with the Rickenbacker and the Rick. Like if you play with your fingers, like, because it was such like an old one, and it kind of like gets stuck in the pickup because it has like those big metal pots around it, so you get like locked in there. Yeah, it's like, all right, pick time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all trial and error until.
Did you have to sneak out and play in your first bands?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Oh, like my dad wouldn't let me have like guitars in the house. Like he would.
Is that part of the Southern Baptist thing, or
no? It was part of him being an asshole. Yeah.
But he's sober now.
Yeah,
and you guys are reconciling.
And he really appreciates like how artistic, you know, I am. Like he's like you've always done things your own way, and he's like, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and he's because. You know, because I didn't end up dead or in jail. You know, right. So I'm the one who lived.
Yeah. How long has he been sober? Do you know?
I guess it was right after my brother's death is when he became sober. So just about 7 years.
Yeah, as a parent, I can't even imagine what that must have been like.
Oh man, like it haunts him still.
You get a call? How did you find out?
Yeah, I got a call from him.
From your dad?
Yeah. Like it was 7 a.m. I was getting up, getting ready to, I was making coffee, smoking a cigarette. It's like, oh, my dad's calling me. Someone died. Because at that point, that was the only time we would talk, is when he'd call me if someone died.
You guys were estranged because of his alcoholism?
No, we were estranged because we just didn't have anything in common. Yeah. Like, we're just different people, and there was nothing to talk about. Yeah. Like, it was just like, why bother?
Yeah.
You know, so we just both did our own thing, and, but, I mean, I'm glad that's changed. You know, I am, but,
So he called you that morning?
Yeah.
Gave you the news?
Yeah.
So the death of your brother led you into this wilderness of pain. Yeah. And being heavily medicated, and in the years since, you have continued therapy but tapered off your meds. Are you taking anything now?
No. I'm pretty good. I still drink. I definitely don't. It's not self-medicating drinking, that's for sure. But I definitely know my moods and pay attention to things, you know, like my inner self. I listen to myself more. I understand I understand my limits. Yeah. Basically. But yeah, I'm pretty solid at the moment, you know.
You still struggle with insomnia though?
Yeah, very much so.
All the time?
No. But when it hits hard.
Does it like go for days? Or?
Yep. Usually like 3 days in a row. That's usually the longest. But you know, I'll get like if I get 5 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep a night, I'm good. But that's like on a good day, you know. But like on the bad days, it's like, well, I got 2 hours of sleep and I'm functioning, but You know,
Yeah.
I don't sleep much.
Yeah.
But
You do any journaling or anything?
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's not much else to do like in those hours.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's yeah. There's nothing romantic about the hours that I keep, but you know, might as well get shit done while I'm while I'm awake. You know.
And so, Donkey Punch's drummer is moving to Seattle, and you don't have any current musical project, huh?
I mean, we're gonna continue. We just got to find a drummer, but I'm telling you, the best therapy ever is Sundays with my dudes. You know, getting together and playing music, and like those are the nights I sleep the best. You know, it's like it's like after band practice or after a show. So we're definitely keeping it going because it's good for all of us, all involved. But I mean, trying to find someone that's going to be able to replace him is going to be difficult. But
Jason is a great drummer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be half the player I am without him. That's for sure. Yeah, but we're going to do something.
Yeah. I usually wind these things up with 10 questions.
Right on.
Loosely based on the Bernard Pivot questions from the actor inside the actor studio.
Yes.
But I have my own. You've listened to a couple of these, so you know what's coming. We can jump into that if you're ready.
Sure.
All right, cool. First question: what is the fondest memory you have of a meal that you've had?
Ooh. I mean, every Sunday with my grandmother, she would make a huge meal. So like, and the entire family would come over. It was like after church.
Yeah, did she leave church early?
Yes.
See, my grandma did the same thing.
Most of the time she didn't even go.
Oh, okay.
Because she was cooking.
Yeah.
But when she was there, she would always have to leave early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma did the same thing.
Which was pretty awesome because she always needs some help, and I would leave with her.
Do you remember what she used to make?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was always turkey, meatloaf, ham, always mashed potatoes, always tons of sides. Like, I mean, green beans, collards. There's always a plate of sliced tomatoes from the garden. Sun tea, always a pitcher of sun tea. Lots of cornbread. Yeah.
Sweet or savory cornbread?
Savory, never sweet.
I had this discussion with someone yesterday. I'm not a sweet cornbread guy.
No.
I'm opposed. I
yes.
feel like it's a violation of the bread. I can allow that people can enjoy that, even if it's wrong. So your grandma sounds like she was from Tennessee, too.
She was from the hills of Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mining country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Have you seen that documentary?
Yep.
Though? That's an amazing.
It's
Barbara
fantastic. It's depressing as shit.
Yeah, but they want that. You know, they in Harlan County.
Harlan.
Yeah, Harlan County, USA.
Harlan.
They won a contract. That was a wildcat strike. They got that, but I mean, you know, capital is crafty and will find ways to reassert itself.
Oh yeah.
What's the most frightened you've ever been?
Man, that's tough. That's really tough. There's been so many moments. I think honestly, the most frightened I've ever been was when I realized that I was about to kill myself, and I felt so alone in the world, and that's what frightened me so much. Not the fact that I was going to kill myself, but that I was absolutely alone. Like that's one of the scariest feelings.
I've had several guests who were suicide survivors or had dealt with being suicidal for a long time, and the common theme in a couple of them has been that there was a long period of time where suicide was an abstraction. Like It was sort of hanging out there.
It was always hanging
as an option, but not a concrete thing they were planning to do, or that it was like imminent. And then gradually, it just became more and more of a real thing until there was a day where it was like,
came to the forefront, but it was always in the shadows. It was an out.
And it was like that for you too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I always knew that. Well, if it gets that bad, just fucking end it. Yeah.
Had you gotten to the planning stage?
Oh my God, yeah. No, I was sitting there holding my fucking shotgun, like just with it in my fucking lap, and I'm just gripping it like so tense, and it has the shell in it, and the hammer is pulled back, and I just know it's the fucking time, and I just.
What made you decide not to kill yourself?
At my brother's funeral, my mother made me swear to her that I would never kill myself.
So it was your promise to your mom?
Yep. And that's something I can't break.
Yeah.
But I know as soon as she passes, that promise is going to be out the window, and that scares me.
How old's your mom?
She's, I think she's 64.
Yeah.
63, 64, something like that.
Yeah. Next question. Of the things in your life that you've lost, what is the thing that you regret losing the most?
I mean, besides people, I would say
people count too.
I would say people.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've lost several close friends, and I've lost a lot of respect, and for being very human, and telling people exactly what I feel. So I would say, like, just in general, people.
Yeah. Tell me about a time you received an act of kindness from a stranger.
Two days ago, a friend of mine walked up to me and gave me a bluebird, and these bluebirds, they just like little wood cutouts painted blue, and we've been sticking them up around town because like it's just this thing. It's like when you're having a bad day, it's like you can just look at these and they just make you smile. That's what they're for. And it works. And I've made them and I've handed them out to people, and it's always made their day, and it's made them smile, and they really truly appreciate it. And the other day he walked up and just handed one to me and walked away because I was kind of having a rough day.
Yeah.
And it was just like
just a wooden bluebird.
Perfect. Yeah,
like a carving or
it's just like a little cutout. Just a little piece of plywood just cut and painted blue.
Yeah. And you guys have been putting them up around town?
Yeah, we've been putting up around town, made some stencils, and made some stickers. We're going to make some stickers and just start, because, seriously, like, it's just a little thing like that just kind of makes you smile. It's just like, damn, all right, cool.
Yeah, I like that. What's your favorite place to gig?
Oh, man. Wow, that's tough. I really, really, of course, love the Caledonia. I I miss the Echo Lounge. That was one of my all-time favorites.
I must have played there, but I don't have any recollection of it.
Oh man, I've had so many fun shows there. I mean, anywhere where there's people that are stoked to be there, like seriously. But I mean, playing the theater last month, that's the first time I've played there since it's been back, after it burned down. And that was fantastic.
It's a really nice venue now.
Yeah, and that's like...
Historically, it's kind of not been.
I know.
Super great for the performers.
Yeah. But it was fantastic. It was one of my favorite shows ever that I've played. But it's so funny. Like, the stage is huge, but we still played like it was a tiny stage. Like, it was like Caledonia. We like pulled in real tight, like standing right next to each other, even though we like had, this entire place. And of course, I love the 40 watt. I've always loved playing the 40 watt. Like it's like home turf.
Yeah. Visa and income considerations aside, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
I don't know if I would live anywhere else.
Athens, Georgia. Yeah. It's a good place.
Yeah, man.
I've been here 30-something years. So. Yeah.
It's let's see. I think it's like going on 23 for me. Yeah. Something like that. 22. Yeah, 22.
What's your perfect musical instrument, and do you already own it or not?
I mean, the Fender P bass is pretty much the most perfect thing in the world.
They really are cool machines.
Fucking amazing.
Fender basses have a thing about them. They're just so efficient.
Yeah.
At being basses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. And a Gibson SG, like, or even like a Gibson Melody Maker is a perfect guitar, And yes, I've owned all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sort of goes into the next question. Is there an instrument that you no longer have that you had to give up, either had it stolen or pawned or sold or something that you wish you could get back?
I mean, yes. But I've sold so many of them that I would need to check my files. One of my favorite bass amps of all time is... the PV Firebase 700, and I regret selling that.
Yeah.
Like, that thing was, I mean, I loved it. I miss it.
Yeah. 700 watts?
Yeah.
To 2 ohms or 8?
It was a 4 ohm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I've never played through one of those, but...
It was, I mean, that thing was a beast.
I think PVs are kind of underrated in a lot of ways. I mean, there's been a lot of bad PVs.
Yeah.
But
but the good ones are amazing.
Yeah.
Like this thing, like one time we were heading to Atlanta to play a show, and our guitar player, who I will not name, he forgot to shut the back of the van.
Oh, Jesus.
So I
think I might have heard the story from someone else's perspective.
Yeah. I think we were cruising down the road, and I think we were playing maybe at, I think it was like Drunken Unicorn or something, but it fell out on 316 and like rolled, and so it was slammed on the brakes, pulled the van over, I run out and grab it, throw it back in, shut it, and I'm like, fuck. Get to the venue, I'm like, this better fucking work. Turned out it worked like a fucking champ, and it got rid of this little hum that was in there. It's pretty awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, just need a little percussive
adjustment.
maintenance.
Yeah.
If you could be a guest musician with any band or musician for one song at a show, who would you play with and what song?
Oh man, that's
a new question. So you may not have had time to prepare
tough.
for that one. Yeah.
That's really tough. Oh man. I mean, there's so many, and so I'm just going to throw one out there, and
Sure.
and any of them, you know.
This is not a pass-fail exam.
Yeah,
so.
fuck, man, this is tough. I want to say fucking Motorhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like get up and play Stay Clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be it.
All right, last question.
Last question.
If you can imagine a taxi that can go anywhere in space or time, isn't constrained by the reality that we sort of live in, and you get in this taxi, you say to the driver, "Hey man, take me home." Where's home?
Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
Straight
right
up.
now.
Right now. Here and now.
Awesome.
Athens.
Man, this has been great. I really appreciate you
this-
taking the time to do it.
Thank you. This was very, very awesome.
Thanks, man. All right, that's episode 50, our interview with Jeff Rapier. He's a really lovely guy. He's been through some shit, man. I really felt a lot of his sadness in that interview really strongly as he was talking about it. If you want to talk to me about that interview or anything else, you can email me at crashandride@protonmail.com. That email is encrypted and private. I'm the only one who reads it, crashandride@protonmail.com. You know, in addition to all the other sponsors we've talked about on the show today, Crash and Ride is also brought to you in part by listeners like you. You can go to patreon.com/crashandride and make a small monthly pledge to help support the program and keep us going. That's patreon.com/crashandride. Also, you can go to our website, crashandridepodcast.com/store if you want to buy a t-shirt or coffee. You know, I want to thank Jake Kreger. He's basically the producer of the show, although he never signed up for it. Neither one of us really gets paid, but he sends me show notes after every show to help me make the show better. So if the show's better now than the first time you heard it, that's all due to Jake. He's also the creator and maintainer of our YouTube channel, which will be up any day now. I checked it out today. It looks amazing. So thanks, Jake. I also want to thank Gene Wolflick and the band The Powder Room. They provide all of the music that you hear on the show, the intro and the outro and the middle part. That's all Powder Room music. Most of it is from their album Curtains, which is from their first record. You can go to their Bandcamp page at thepowderroom.bandcamp.com to hear more. You should throw them a few bucks. You should download that record. You should also download the record Lucky because I play drums on it, and I think it's a really great record. Oh, hey, I talked to Gene this week, and I said, hey, man, what is the Bandcamp page for Dream Tent, your new band? And it is dreamtent.bandcamp.com, dreamtent.bandcamp.com. That is Gene's new project, and it is just as brilliant as everything else he's ever done. I think Gene is a brilliant musician, and you should go check out Dream Tent. Thanks to Heil Audio for the great deal they gave me on these two PR40 microphones. I used to use the PR40 in the recording studio on snare drum, kick drum, and bass cabinet, and now I'm using it as a broadcast mic, because guess what? It's really good at that, too. If you're thinking about upgrading the microphones for your podcast, you could do a lot worse than the Heil PR40. I think they're really great. Okay, I think that covers everything. Man, it feels good to be getting back into the swing of things with the show and getting back into the rhythm of producing shows every week. I really enjoyed the holidays. It was nice to take a vacation, but this is the thing that I do, and I'm really glad to be back at it. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope you'll swing back by next week and check out next week's show. I hope you go back into the archives and check out all the old shows. You should be able to find them on your podcast app, but if you can't, you can always go to the website, crashandridepodcast.com, and everything is there. Every episode we've ever done is there. So, until we speak again, take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Ask for help if you need it. Go see live music. Support your favorite band. And remember, loud guitars save lives.